Negotiation space is the only room that exists, but that's wrong. What we got up here is the buyer's maximum controlled by what we call the next best alternative, or the budget. In this case, 150,000. The sales rep limit down here is 120. So of course we have negotiation space in here, which is traditional, 30,000. But that's not the real room. The real room is the traditional room of the 30,000 plus the sum of the Negoeconomics. If we're able to work with Negoeconomics, we can expand the size of this one. And if we expand the size with the 42%, not only is the negotiation going to be easier, it's going to be more advanced, where both of the parties will leave this negotiations table with a major advance in the created profit, because there's more to share. Okay? When we are talking about how to create added value, you might want to write down these questions here, because very often what I recommend my clients to open up a negotiation with saying is the following. My dear counterpart, how can I help you reduce your cost, reduce your liability, and increase your profit? My main purpose of sitting here in a negotiation with you today is actually to try and help you reduce your cost, your risk, and increase your profit. Do you know what? It's very interesting when you're asking that question to a counterpart. It's very few times I've ever heard anybody saying, no, I don't want you to do that. I don't want to increase my profit, reduce the risk and the liability. I don't want that. You just stay out of that. You know, very often people get a little bit curious and saying, well, yeah, that might be interesting. If trust is there, this will work in a great way. Now, we can't stop there, because when we've been asking the first question, then we need to ask the second questions as well. How can you help me, my dear counterpart, reducing my cost and my risk, and at the same time increasing my profit? Because that's the only purpose I'm here. I'm not here to negotiate technology or delivery or prices or whatever. I'm here to reduce my cost, my risk, my liability, and increase my profit. But I'm not going to do it at your expense, because we're going to do the same thing with you. And the third one naturally is, just getting back to the plasterboard example, how can you and I actually work together to reduce the cost and the risk, and at the same time increasing the profit for both of us? And getting back to what I talked about this morning when we were talking about the trust level and rules of the game, this is partly rules of the game. How are we going to negotiate today? Are we going to share information? Are we going to list on a flip chart what variables we have that we need to negotiate? Can we agree on how to split the potential Negoeconomics? All of that is part of rules of the game. Now, what is really required in order to do this? Anyone? Out of the 4 major things I mentioned this morning, I would really hope that you would remember. One of these things is trust. None of this will work if you don't have trust.